we're going to have a discovery conversation. I think it's going to be a really, really interesting conversation because we have two volunteers who are going to really open up the conversation for us. And we're going to talk about gender and sexuality and trans issues and LGBT issues, queer issues, and non-binary issues. And what we're going to do, we're just going to walk into what this is. And none of the rhetoric, none of how are we supposed to say it, how are we supposed to think about it, I'm going to walk you through the way I see these issues. And I don't buy the rhetoric, but I'm going to give you the sociology of it so we can understand what it is that we're really talking about. Why don't you introduce yourselves?
I'll go first. My name's Alex. I'm a senior and I'm studying computer engineering. And I guess for the purposes of this class, I'm gay, so that's important too.
Hi, my name is Corey. I am a freshman and studying in animal science, and again, for this class, I am genderqueer and pansexual.
Let's walk through. Assigned female at birth, okay? And then what are you thinking now? Like, walk us through a little bit.
It's a little difficult to explain, but as of right now, I am genderqueer and what's considered transmasc. Which pretty much means like going from more feminine to more masculine, but it doesn't necessarily I don't necessarily feel like either a man or a woman. I'm still just very much what I like to say, I'm just me. I'm just Corey.
Yep. Just Corey. Just you. Wait, how about in terms of gender? How do you identify in terms of gender? Same thing?
Yeah, my gender would be genderqueer, which is
genderqueer,
kind of an umbrella for non-binary.
So in terms of gender, you have masculine, you have the feminine. What happens with most people, y'all, right, is you're born with a girl's body or you're born with a boy's body, and people just assume that you're a girl, and so you start dressing you like a girl before you have any say over it or whatever. And then at some point in time, you started to say, wait, hang on, gender-wise, I'm not sure I'm a girl. I'm not sure I just fit. How old were you when you started thinking in terms of gender?
I want to say gender's always sort of been like...
As long as you can remember.
Right, like it's always been sort of a strange construct for me. I didn't have, again, like the words to explain, like no one told me there was any sort of words or anything to explain it, so like I had no word for it. But for as long as I could remember, it's always been like apparent for me. Like I've always just been like, something's different, something's odd, something's wrong, like I just didn't know what to think of it, and I'd always kind of explored and been a little different.
Did you, well, okay, so the fact that you said, okay, odd and wrong, right? This is the problem, right? This is part of why people who are dealing with these issues in schools are saying it's really good to be able to give young kids an outlet to have a conversation about this stuff, so they don't say, I'm different. Not that I'm different. That's fine. Being different is fine. But wrong. Like there's something wrong with me. Because we see like the high depression rates, the high suicide rates, the high self-harm rates among people like the two of you, much higher, but especially like you. Okay, so when you say genderqueer, just for sake of this conversation, are you like, hang on, we're going to do a third chair here. Are you just like somewhere in here where you're just kind of floating back and forth in the middle?
Yes.
Or are you more at the feminine, female end?
I like to explain it as like yes, no, sometimes, and maybe. So like it's just
awesome.
very fluid.
Okay.
Like I am more masculine leaning, but gender-wise, like I'm masculine leaning socially, but gender-wise, I'm all over the place.
Okay, so let's go sex. Let's talk sex for a second. What are you thinking at this point in terms of your biological body?
Biologically, I'm not sure if I would do any sort of medical transitioning. As of like the past maybe 2 years, I've been slowly like doing social transitioning, which is, name change, pronoun change, things like that. But when it comes to medically, that's like a whole new can of worms. Like that's very complicated. It's got a lot that you have to think about. There's a lot that goes into that, health, like socially, there's just everything. So it's very much up in the air, I suppose.
So you identify as they, but you're saying they, him, not they, she.
Yeah, so I use he, they, or they, he pronouns,
Okay.
which means you can use either they, them, or he, him.
I'm just going to walk through to be really clear. You're born she, right? You're saying they is usually someone in the world of our bodies, right? And gender too, gender and sex, right? They all go together. Like it's somewhere here in the center, they, which is very cool, by the way. To they, like, why do we got to be like feminine or masculine? Like, what's the point? Most of you aren't. You do understand that just how you're dressed right now with these jeans? Well, okay, they're kind of half a pair of jeans. You know what I mean? I just showed my age right there, by the way. What's with all these holes in your jeans? And you pay a lot of money for that. Like, Jesus Christ, what's wrong with you people? All right. So, if you go back 60 years here at Penn State, girls, Penn State women didn't wear jeans. Boys wore jeans. You had to wear dresses. This is how this stuff works. Like you can't dress like that. So it's like things change. Everything changed. And so I think the they piece for me is like, well, let's just explore life. Like, be they. They is kind of cool. So many of us we're just engaged. Look at me. I have all these earrings. I don't know. The earrings aren't necessarily I don't know what that really means, but like whatever. It's just like, come on, loosen up, people. Like it's all good. Like who cares? So you said, no. In terms of my pronouns, I'm actually going to leave here. You're not saying like he, she, them. You're saying no. I'm going with he, they. So you're putting these two together, not those two. So you have walked away from your biology.
For me, it was definitely a journey. So at one point, I actually used it was she, her. Then I went to she, they. Then she, they, he. So at one point, they were all three of them were together.
Awesome.
Actually, and I guess as I sort of felt like once I came to college and I was able to sort of explore myself more and kind of express how I feel inside is when I made the change to he, they, or they, he, because I felt more comfortable that way. But I knew back at home, most people wouldn't address me that way. So I just kind of had all three sort of as I know people aren't gonna say what I want them to say, so I'll just leave it there anyways.
Okay. Life is so cool. You really need to hear this. Neither Alex nor Corey are demanding that anybody see things the way they see it. Okay? Neither of them are saying that. Corey is not saying, Corey, but is that your birthday? All right, okay. So, because it's such an androgynous, it's such an awesome name. Corey is not saying, people around me and back home, I demand that they call me this and they use these pronouns. They're not saying that. It's just lighten up, man. It's so cool, right? Okay, so more comfortable. What do you?
Yeah, so it's almost I don't know if you guys have heard this on the internet when people say they get the ick from something. It's when people, I've always had that with my name, so I changed my name first. But using any type of she, her, or certain feminine leaning pronouns, almost again, it gave me the ick. It just felt wrong. If someone were to call you she, you would feel strange. You'd just be that's wrong.
Yep.
And I guess it sort of just felt like that for me. It's just kind of ugh.
Yeah. You're shaking your head.
Oh, yeah, I'm agreeing. I think that's a really good way to put it too, because it's I understand that. I know that, and I don't think most people do. It's it would be the same as if somebody were to call you something a different pronoun that you identify.
A different name.
Yeah. And you would probably feel weird about that. It's just that's not what's happening. So it doesn't. No, people aren't getting that experience, so they don't understand that.
Yeah.
At least that's how I think about it.
No, it's cool actually. So you're what I'm hearing you, because both of you strike me. I mean, both of you are just so reasonable and thoughtful and self-aware. And you're saying, yeah, the ick factor, it just didn't feel right. It just didn't feel right. And so like, okay. So to stay here. Okay, but surgery-wise, right? You're saying like, yeah, at this stage, I'm 18 years old. I look to the future and I'm not thinking, turn my body into, right? So female is women assigned, girl assigned, whatever, female assigned, body. So now the question becomes this: because you've walked into this world, what's on the table for Corey is to say, okay, I've already transitioned in terms of my gender. I don't know, we haven't talked about your sexual orientation yet, but I've already transitioned in terms of my gender. What's next is my body. What do I do with this body here? And what's on the table is that one part of transitioning is not just transitioning in terms of gender. Like me, I would start using she pronouns, her and she and so on, right? But it's like, well, what might I do with my body? So that in the question for Corey would be, do I do some kind of surgical alteration with my body that would move me from being woman down here to being closer to man down here? You're never going to be a man. Doesn't matter. Like you can never. They can never get here. Okay, because we don't have the surgical procedures to change Corey's entire anatomy to get her to be able to sit in this chair. Like there are all sorts of things we can do. Maybe we'll talk about it if we get there. But Corey will never be sitting in this chair. That's not possible. So the question is then, you're in this chair, and you're saying, all right, I've already transitioned in terms of gender a little bit, but now but I have the option, Corey, has the option of altering my body a little bit to be more in line with Alex's body or Sam's body, right? A man's body, okay? So like, am I interested in any of that? And at this stage in your life, you're going like, I don't really know. And you're really young, and that's a great answer for that.
Surgery-wise, I'm going to say probably not, but there's things that you could do. Again, surgery-wise would be things such as top surgery, which would be the removing of breast tissue. There's also different bottom surgeries. There's I want to say 2 different ones that I can think of. That sort of just make you have more male genitalia.
Or like a genitalia that looks more male.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm personally not thinking about things like those. I think the one major thing up in the air would be testosterone, which is a hormone replacement. I could get testosterone either injections or testosterone gel of different milligrams, I guess. I don't know how to, but pretty much it would do things like give me more facial hair or change my body fat distribution, things along those lines, to outwards appearance, like what you would see, still be more masculine leaning without having to go through the surgeries.
So a lot of people who are in this world that you're in will wear really tight, what do you call it? There's a name for it.
I have a binder on, yes.
A binder, right? So do you wear a binder?
Yes, I currently have one on. It kind of helps you flatten your chest, like in clothing. Or euphoria. Dysphoria is like something is wrong. Again, that feeling like something's off, something's odd. Where euphoria is like you feel good about yourself.
Got you.
So for me personally, I feel sometimes really odd or almost exposed without my binder. And then wearing it makes me feel, again, it's compression, sure. So it's hugging me, but I feel lighter myself. I feel better.
Mm-hmm. and hugging you. And the idea is, and what you're saying is, hey, but I'm not ready to think about top surgery. But wearing a binder is kind of low. It's low-hanging fruit. It's pretty easy, right? Especially if you don't have really large breasts. And then you're like, then it's a lot easier because it could be really painful if you have huge breasts. So when I say that no matter what happens, and so this is the same with Alex, if Alex decided to transition, but then when I say that, yeah, but you'll never be in this chair because you never have my body, right? Are you cool with that?
I feel like I'm cool with it. It's just like sometimes it can be upsetting. Like if I'm feeling like really masculine, like I wish I could just almost teleport into that body, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Like if someone gave me the choice of just like, why don't you choose your avatar? I'd be like, yeah, I want that one. So I feel like the thing that's upsetting is not you saying that, like I understand that. It's just more that I know that, I guess.
I got you. Okay, so listen, let me say the transphobia stuff, like, do you know about TERFs and all this?
Yes.
Some people would call me a TERF.
Really?
Just by saying that Corey can't ever be in this chair.
I don't think they understand that you have way more experience with people from different backgrounds.
Totally.
I know what you mean. Like, I know. Like,
Yeah.
you won't be able to change someone's DNA, at least with the technology we
Yeah.
have. You
Yep.
actually cannot do that. And, like, I think the hard part is, like, it's really hard to accept that if you are somebody like Corey. Like, I don't know how. Like, I had enough trouble accepting myself. I mean, it took years.
Mm-hmm.
It took years. And, like, I'm only this candid about it because I've done that in my past.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was able to be open with myself when I was, like, middle school, high school. And I'm very lucky that I had friends and family that were, like, open to this kind of stuff. I don't know where I'm going with this, but... No.
Okay, so the idea, though, is that one of the arguments, this is what happens when people... when a movement starts, so there's this like trans movement that kicks in gear, and then everybody jumps on board, and then suddenly what you see are all these people who say, hey, if Corey says, I'm a boy, I'm a man, then they are a man. And that means that if Corey says, I'm a man, then she can sit in this chair and she's as much of a man as me or Alex. And then you got other folks who are saying, nah, which is what I just said. No. I mean, yes, you can say that. Like Corey can say, but I'm a man, and this is what it is. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. And everything that goes along with that. But what a lot of folks are saying is, but sex is real. Okay? It's not just a sociological construct. So that Corey says, but I'm a boy, and therefore she's a boy. And she should have all the rights and privileges of anybody who's a boy or a man. It's like, you can make that argument, but you're not here. They are here. Right? And so the people who are making the argument, struggling with this, very often are women who are saying, yo, hang on, man. But you can't just make that decision one day, and then all of a sudden it all changes. So I said the word TERF, and so a lot of people get criticized because they're just unwilling to allow people who are transitioning to say, yes, I'm in this chair equal, like Corey would be equal to me or Alex. We're all men up here. We're the same. And there are a lot of folks going like, nah, man, you don't have to go that far. There's no reason you have to go that far. Because sex is real. There are these ways of our bodies, and they're real. But what I heard you say, though, is, but when I'm feeling particularly masculine, I wish I could just make a wand over me and just be the boy. It just would be interesting. Like if your whole body was the body of a boy and everything, it's just like, yep, it just feels like the spirit that is you feels like, I would come into a different kind of alignment.